Well, hello, my crafty friends. I have a super fun video for you today. I'm going to show you how to do your own high-end DIY projects. And I'm not talking Dollar Tree. No, I'm talking about making things look like they came from Pottery Barn, Anthropologie, West Elm, McGee Company, and places like that. And you can DIY it.
It all just goes away. The things I plan to say. Oh, baby.
So for my first craft, I'm going to be making a fancy wreath thing. So I wanted to have like a sign that goes inside of a wreath. And I had this Dollar Tree wood round and I thought about staining it, but I decided it would be easier to paint it. So I went ahead and used some different shades of brown paint and painted one side of the wood round. Then I wanted to add a little bit of dimension, so I just used some Dollar Tree black acrylic paint and just added that to the wood round. I don't want the different colors to be completely blended together, so I will resist from blending everything perfectly. The different shades will give it a lot more dimension. And then I decided to make a vinyl cutout that's going to go in the center of this wood round, which is going to go on my wreath. And as you can see, I wanted it to say hello. I just sized it so that it would fit the wreath perfectly, and then I applied the vinyl to the wooden round. Now I'm going to be putting that on top of a wreath, and this is the wreath that I'm going to be using, and I should say reusing, because I did add all of the red flowers and actually that baby's breath too, but I don't need those red flowers for this wreath. I just want it to be greenery or like a boxwood style wreath. So I went ahead and removed all of the roses. Projects like this are so much fun because you can repurpose other projects that you've done in the past. It saves money, and then you can get multiple decor pieces depending on the season or your mood. So once I had all of the roses removed, then I took my sign, my hello sign, and it fits pretty well into the center of the wreath. So I used my hot glue gun to secure the wooden round to the center. And because I removed all of those roses, the wreath is looking less than full. So I went ahead and took some other faux greenery pieces, cut them into smaller sections, and then applied them to the more bare spots of my wreath. And this is one of the reasons why I always keep extra pieces from other projects, because you never know when they're going to come in handy. And here is my finished wreath. Oh my goodness, I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I think it looks beautiful on my front door. Now for my next project, I found this pressed botanical wall art at Pottery Barn, and it is $319 on sale. Now, I had originally made something similar to that using some Dollar Tree products and some faux flowers, and this is how it turned out. And I did like it, but it wasn't quite the look I was going for. But I wanted to see if I could do this better. So I went to Hobby Lobby and I found this wood pile sign, and it was actually on sale for, I think it was 40% off. It ended up costing me $6 for this sign. And while I like the hangers of the sign, making it easy to hang up, it wasn't the right color. And I found this Krylon chalky finish spray paint at Hobby Lobby for $8.99, and I decided to paint my entire sign this white chalky paint. It worked really well, and it gives a nice matte finish to my project. Once it was dry, I brought it back inside And then I found these dried flowers and pressed flowers at Hobby Lobby. Again, they were on sale, and I just started playing around with them and trying to emulate what I saw in that Pottery Barn picture. I also had some of these dried florals, and I really like the long grasses, so I wanted to add those in so that it could kind of look similar to the Pottery Barn project. And then I just took some of those dried florals and pressed florals and I added them to my sign. So I did use some Dollar Tree wood glue just to secure them down in place. Now it was my original plan that I wanted to paint all of this with that white chalky spray paint so I could really have it look like the Pottery Barn sign. So that was why I really wanted to make sure that I had all of the little pieces glued down before I moved on to the next step. But as I was getting closer to being finished with my project, I decided I really like this just like it was. So I decided to leave it. I really like the colors. I think it adds a little something extra. And no, it's not exactly like the Pottery Barn botanical print, but I think it looks really nice. Now this is a big project. As you can see, I have a big piece of cardboard. And what I did was I had a few of these Dollar Tree mirrors, the little, I think they're 8x10 size mirrors, and I wanted to make a larger mirror. Now the mirror quality of these smaller mirrors is not the greatest. Let me tell you that in advance, but it does make a really nice larger mirror. And I know Pottery Barn has some larger mirrors like this. I can't remember the name of it, but I wanted to have a larger mirror that looked like something that came from Pottery Barn. So first, to make sure that the mirrors were going to stay together, I did use some hot glue to secure everything in place as it is. I'm not going to change anything from the back of these mirrors. And I want to make sure that the mirrors are going to stick. So I used some liquid nails in a caulking gun. Now the liquid nails for projects is incredible. This is way stronger than any adhesive I have ever found. And if you're going to be working with mirrors or anything like this that could potentially fall down, you really want to make sure that you have a strong adhesive. And the liquid nails is perfect for a project like this. So once I had some liquid nails onto my cardboard, I just secured the mirrors in place. Now I have done a mirror project like this before, and you'll actually see that coming up in another project. Now, once the mirrors had lots of time to dry, and I think I let them set for about 3 days, then I wanted to make a hanger. Now, if you're making a hanger to hang something up the size like this is, it's pretty heavy. I just used some string and I tucked it underneath the cardboard in between the mirrors and the cardboard. And then I also used some E6000 to help keep that string in place. Now, once I had that E6000 around it, I did use a big craft stick to push it down underneath to make sure my hanger will stay intact. Then I took some hot glue along with some E6000 and I put that on top of the string that's on the back of the mirror. Next, I used a craft stick to secure it in place, and I did that on both sides of my hanger. Then it was time to clean the mirrors. And here is the end result. I am really happy with how this project turned out, and my husband was happy too because now he doesn't have to have flowers on his side of the bed. So he really liked it, I really like it, and I think it was a fun and easy project. Now for this next project, I found these horse pictures on Temu and they were super affordable, but I wanted to give them a really nice, like aged, kind of glamorous looking backdrop. And I found these really pretty brass or gold colored frames at the Dollar Tree. So I removed everything from the frame. And then I did go ahead and clean it using some glass cleaner. Then I decided which pictures I wanted to put in these frames. I put the canvas in the frame, then I just put the backing back onto the frame as well. Making sure I have the hanger on the upside, and then I just use some duct tape to the back of the frame. The duct tape works really well to secure it in place, and I really like how that looks. And if you are still watching, thank you! I am so happy that you're here. And while you're here, go ahead, click that subscribe button and then click the bell notification. That way you'll be alerted every time I have a new video coming out. I think it looks very nice and very elegant and classy. And it is perfect for what I wanted to use it for. This is hanging in my kitchen. I put 2 of the horse images on either side of the mirror. And then I put the 3rd horse above my other cabinet. I think it looks really nice. And there is that other mirror that I was talking about just a few minutes ago. Yes, those are Dollar Tree mirrors. Now I found this textile wall hanging at Anthropologie, and look at that, $1,528 for a textile wall hanging. Well, I know I can make that for a lot less. So the first thing I would need is some large frames. And I know they don't have frames like this at the Dollar Tree, nor can I make something like this. So I did go to Amazon and I did buy a couple of frames. That would be the size that I wanted them to be for my project. And these are actually really nice heavy-duty frames. They don't have glass, though they have plexiglass, which I actually like. Having the artwork being covered with plexiglass versus glass is that the plexiglass is a lot lighter. And I was trying to pick out the perfect textile, and the option that I found was to buy a table runner from Amazon. And I liked this one because of the different textures as well as the bottom edge, that fringe. I really like that. So I cut my table runner in half. And then I cleaned up the edge on the top. And I didn't use anything fancy, just regular scissors. And I wanted to make sure it was going to fit in my frame, and I do like that. I think that is the perfect size. But there are some wrinkles and some creases. So I did go ahead and iron those out before moving on to the next step. So I just used the frame backing on the white side, and then I used some Dollar Tree wood glue just at the top of the table runner. And once I had it positioned where I wanted it to go, I put the top down and I just kind of secured it in place. And once the glue was dry on my table runner, I put it into the frame. And because I just put the glue at the top of the table runner, I'm able to lift the backing up And then I can straighten out all of those fringy ends. Now, if I was thinking ahead of time, if I had a big comb, I could have really straightened those out easily, and I think they would have looked perfect. Then I just had to secure the back in place on my wall art. Now, to make sure I get my wall art hung up evenly, I'm taking a piece of masking tape and putting it over the hangers because there's 2 hangers. And I'm just putting a dot where the hangers are. Then I can take that masking tape and put it onto the wall and make sure that it's square. And then I'm going to put the screws into the wall and remove the masking tape. And then all I have to do is hang up my beautiful art. And there is the finished project. Oh my goodness, look at that. I made these wall art pieces for about $50 total. That's a lot more affordable than what they would have been if I bought them at Anthropologie. Now, I love florals, and if you've ever looked at Pottery Barn, they have some beautiful faux flower pieces, but they're also very expensive. But they're also very easy to dupe. So what I did was I found these hydrangeas on Amazon, and all of the things that I'm talking to you about, I will have links in the description box below in case you wanted to make these projects for yourself. So I just cut down the stems, and then I also cut off some extra pieces of the stem. So I just want to have some of the green stem itself. Then, using a little bit of hot glue, I secured 2 stems into the bottom of a Dollar Tree square vase. And I didn't have any more of that fake water, so what I did was I did have this crystal clear epoxy resin. So I just mixed equal parts of A and B. And then I gently stirred them together. You don't want to do this too quickly or you can get bubbles. Then I poured my resin into my Dollar Tree vase. This will actually act very similar to the faux water, and it was a lot more affordable actually. So then I just took the hydrangeas and put them into the vase. And I added a few blueberry stems too. And it turned out so well, I decided to duplicate it with these flowers. Now here is my finished project, so the hydrangeas and the blueberries in my resin water. I think the resin worked just as well as the faux water, and it was a lot more affordable. Now for my next project, I went to my local thrift store and I found a few treasures. They were really affordable. I mean, all of them were less than $4. That one was only $2.99. And this hurricane glass, I am not sure where it came from, but it's very large and it looks like something from Pottery Barn. And the reason I got it was because I wanted to have a round tablescape for my table. So I found this wicker tray on Amazon. It was very affordable. And then I just started adding some pieces to it. And I'm going to start with that large hurricane glass, and then I'm just going to add a candle. Then I'm going to take one of my faux flower arrangements and just a little bird because it reminds me of spring, and that's it. Look at how easy that was, and I was able to make something that looks like these items could have come from Pottery Barn, but I did it for a lot less money. And here's one of my treasures that I was telling you about. This is an acacia wood bowl, and it's threshold, so I think it came from Target, but it would have cost me a lot more money if I bought it there. All I had to do was clean it up a little bit, and it's good as new. But I'm not going to use it like a bowl, sort of. So I traced around the top on a bigger piece of cardboard, and then I went ahead and cut that cardboard round out. Now that is going to fit into my acacia bowl. Then I used a Dollar Tree glass cup and secured it to the bottom of the bowl. And then I used some hot glue for the top of the bowl. And then I put my cardboard in place. Now I found this moss on Amazon, and it's like pillow moss. So now you know what I'm going to be making, right? And then I just took pieces of the moss and I secured it in place onto the cardboard. Now the pillow moss is really fun to work with because if it's not the right size, you can easily peel little pieces away to make it the size that you want it to be. And just like that, my project is done. Here is the finished project. My little pillow moss bowl is sitting on my coffee table. I think it looks so nice, and I actually have it styled sitting on a couple of books on my table right now. Now here's another wall art piece. Look at this from Anthropologie, $1,900. Wow. I happen to have this very large canvas, so I thought this would be perfect to test out my way to make inexpensive wall art. So I used some painter's caulk. This stuff is wonderful and it's really affordable. I didn't even use an entire tube for this project. Then I took some Dollar Tree acrylic black paint and I put that on top of the painter's caulk. And I was almost out of black paint, so I did grab some extra black paint, and this is Heirloom Traditions all-in-one paint. And then I just moved all of that paint and the painter's caulk around my canvas. There was no rhyme or reason of how I did this. I wanted to see the different textures, so I just used that little tool to make lots of marks onto my canvas while I blended in the paint and the caulking. And here is the end result. This is my carbon art. That is pretty snazzy, and it cost me pretty much nothing to make because I already had everything in order to make my piece of art. And at first I thought, you know, I'm not really sure if I'm gonna like a black piece of art hanging on the wall, but I do really like it. I do want to add a floating frame, which I am going to be sharing with you in an upcoming video. All right, back to my Goodwill thrifting treasures. So I'm going to be taking this bowl because I want to see if I can make artesian style pottery that Pottery Barn seems to be famous for. Everybody is doing their own dupes of the Pottery Barn vessels and bowls. So of course I had to see if I could do it too. So after I cleaned the bowl, then I just used chalk paint and I gave a coat of paint to the inside and outside of the bowl. And next I took some lightweight spackle and I used my hands to paint that onto the bowl as well. Now I didn't make this perfect, I just did bits and pieces of the spackling because I wanted to see some of that color coming through. I also did the inside edge. And then I just dry brushed some different color paints onto my bowl after the spackling was dry. Then I also found it was fun to play around a little bit, and I used a wet paper towel to dab some different colors onto the bowl. And I was doing this with all natural shades and brown, but I wasn't quite, it was missing something. So I decided to take some joint compound and add that to my pot as well. And I think this is what it was missing. I didn't like just the different random colors, so I like that they are undertones, but I really like how the joint compound actually brought everything together, and it gives more of a finished look to the pot. I also repeated that on the inside of the pot just to make it look like it was an artesian style piece. And here is my pot after it was all done. I really like that. Adding that joint compound was the right thing to do. And here is my Pottery Barn dupe pot, sitting on a table with some faux greenery. I think it turned out really great, and I think it looks so nice, and I'm really happy with my results. And actually, I'm really happy with all of my results. I was able to make a whole bunch of different high-end pieces using things that I had, using stuff from Hobby Lobby, Dollar Tree, and thrifted items. I hope this shows you don't need to spend a lot of money on your decor. Just get creative and you can DIY these things for yourself.